Dr. Amanda Pierce stared at her computer screen for the third time that morning. Something was wrong with the data, but she couldn't figure out what. The research station around Jupiter was quiet at this hour. Most of the crew was still sleeping, but Amanda had been up since 4 in the morning working on her project. She was studying blood samples from different species across the galaxy. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. The Galactic Health Council wanted to know if diseases could spread between species. Amanda's job was to look at blood and find out what made each species different. For 6 months, she had been looking at samples from over 200 different alien species. The work was slow and careful. Each sample had to be tested many times to make sure the results were right. But now that she was almost done, she noticed something strange. Every alien species had the same type of blood, not the same color or the same chemicals, but the same basic structure. A Zephyrian's blood looked different from a crystalline's blood, but within each species, every individual had identical blood. There were no variations at all. Amanda rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the human samples. Humans were completely different. They had types A, B, AB, and O. They had positive and negative Rh factors. Some humans had rare blood types that only appeared in one person out of a million. There were dozens of different markers and antigens that made each human's blood unique. She walked to the coffee machine and poured herself a cup. The hot liquid helped wake her up. She had been working too many long hours lately, but this discovery was too important to ignore. Lieutenant Jake Martinez walked into the lab carrying a breakfast tray. He was assigned to help Amanda with her research, though he knew very little about biology. Jake was a soldier, not a scientist, but he was good at organizing data and asking the right questions. "You're up early again," Jake said, setting down the tray. "Did you eat anything yesterday?" Amanda shook her head. "Jake, look at this data. Tell me what you see." Jake sat down at the computer and scrolled through the files. Numbers and charts filled the screen. Most of it made no sense to him, but he could see the patterns Amanda was talking about. "The aliens all have the same blood," he said, "but humans are all different." "Exactly," Amanda said. "But why? Evolution doesn't work that way. Different blood types should give some advantage or they wouldn't exist. But I can't find any advantage. In fact, having different blood types causes problems. People can't always donate blood to each other. Mothers and babies can get sick if their blood types don't match." Jake frowned. "Maybe it's just random. Sometimes evolution does weird things." "That's what I thought at first," Amanda said. "But look at the numbers. The percentages of each blood type are almost exactly the same in every human population. On Earth, in the colonies everywhere humans live, that's not random, that's controlled." She pulled up another screen showing blood type distributions. The numbers were consistent across all human populations. Type O was always the most common, followed by A, then B, then AB. The percentages varied slightly, but the pattern was always the same. "It's like someone designed it this way," Amanda said quietly. Jake looked uncomfortable. "That sounds crazy. You're saying someone made humans have different blood types on purpose?" "I don't know what I'm saying," Amanda replied. "But the math doesn't lie. This isn't natural." She walked over to the quantum computer in the corner of the lab. It was the most powerful computer on the station, used for complex calculations that normal computers couldn't handle. Amanda had never used it before, but she needed to run some tests. "What are you doing?" Jake asked. "I want to see if the blood type patterns match anything else," Amanda said. "Mathematical sequences, genetic codes, anything that might explain why they exist." The quantum computer hummed to life. Amanda input the human blood type data and started the analysis program. The machine would compare the patterns to millions of known sequences and codes. Jake watched nervously. "Maybe we should tell someone about this. Commander Walsh should know what you're working on." "Not yet," Amanda said. "Let me finish the analysis first. I could be wrong about all of this." The computer worked for 20 minutes. Finally, it beeped to signal that the analysis was complete. Amanda and Jake both leaned forward to read the results. The screen showed dozens of matches. The human blood type patterns matched several mathematical sequences used in encryption and security systems. The percentages and distributions formed prime number sequences, Fibonacci patterns, and binary codes. "This is impossible," Jake whispered. Amanda felt her hands shaking. The blood types weren't random variations. They weren't evolutionary advantages. They were codes, mathematical patterns, designed by someone or something with advanced knowledge of genetics and mathematics. "Jake," she said slowly, "I think human blood types are some kind of security system." Jake stood up and paced around the lab. "Security system for what?" "I don't know," Amanda said. "But whoever designed this system knew exactly what they were doing. The patterns are too complex to be accidents. They're too consistent to be natural. Someone created humans with these specific blood types for a specific purpose." She saved all the data to a secure file and locked her computer. This information was too dangerous to leave open where anyone could see it. "We need to research this more," Amanda said. "But carefully. If I'm right, this changes everything we know about human origins." Jake nodded. "Where do we start?" Amanda looked at the data one more time. "We need to find out what these codes are supposed to unlock." 3 weeks after Amanda's discovery, a message arrived at the Jupiter research station. Commander Walsh called everyone to the main briefing room. The message was from the Galactic Archaeological Council. They had found something on a distant planet called Kepler 442b. Captain Lisa Park stood at the front of the room holding a data pad. She was the leader of the archaeological team that had been studying ancient alien ruins across the galaxy. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her uniform was perfectly clean despite spending months in space. "We've discovered a new site," Captain Park announced. "The ruins are different from anything we've seen before. They're huge, complex, and completely intact. But there's a problem. We can't get inside." She activated the holographic display in the center of the room. Images of massive stone structures appeared in the air. The buildings were tall and covered, with strange symbols. They looked ancient but somehow perfect, as if they had been built yesterday. "The civilization that built these structures is completely unknown," Captain Park continued. "We're calling them the architects because of how perfectly everything is designed, but every entrance is sealed. We've tried cutting tools, explosives, even acid. Nothing works." Dr. Ben Carter, the team's archaeologist, stepped forward. He was a tall man with gray hair and thick glasses. He had spent his whole life studying ancient civilizations, but these ruins were unlike anything he had ever seen. "The strange thing is that the doors aren't locked in any normal way," Dr. Carter explained. "There are no keyholes, no electronic panels, no mechanical devices. The entrances just won't open. It's like they're waiting for something specific." Amanda raised her hand. "What kind of something?" "We don't know," Dr. Carter replied. "The surface of each door has small circular indentations about the size of a human hand, but touching them does nothing. We've tried everything we can think of." Commander Walsh looked around the room. "That's why we're putting together a joint mission. Captain Park's archaeological team will work with our research staff to figure out how to open these structures." Amanda felt her heart beating faster. Ancient ruins that couldn't be opened. Mysterious locks that responded to nothing. It reminded her of security systems, the kind that needed specific codes to work. "Commander," Amanda said, "I'd like to volunteer for the mission." Jake looked surprised. Amanda had never shown interest in field work before. She preferred her quiet laboratory to dangerous expeditions. "Dr. Pierce, this isn't a biology mission," Commander Walsh said. "We need archaeologists and engineers." "But what if the locks are biological?" Amanda asked. "What if they need some kind of genetic key?" Captain Park looked interested. "What do you mean?" Amanda hesitated. She hadn't told anyone except Jake about her blood type discovery, but maybe now was the right time. "I've been studying blood samples from different species," Amanda explained. "I found something unusual about human blood types. They form mathematical patterns that look like security codes." The room was quiet. Everyone stared at Amanda with confused expressions. Dr. Carter adjusted his glasses. You think human blood types are connected to alien ruins? I think human blood types might be keys, Amanda said. Keys designed to unlock something very old and very important, Commander Walsh frowned. That sounds impossible. A lot of things sound impossible until they happen, Jake said, supporting Amanda. The math checks out. The patterns are too precise. To be natural. Captain Park made a decision. Dr. Pierce, you're coming with us. If there's even a small chance you're right, we need to investigate. 2 days later, Amanda found herself on a transport ship heading toward Kepler 442b. The journey would take a week through hyperspace. She spent the time studying every piece of data about the ruins and reviewing her blood type research. Jake came with her, along with several other crew members from the Jupiter station. The archaeological team was friendly but skeptical about Amanda's theory. Most of them thought she was wasting her time. When they arrived at Kepler 4042b, Amanda was amazed by what she saw. The planet was covered with structures that stretched for miles in every direction. The buildings were made of a dark stone that seemed to absorb light. Everything was designed with perfect geometric precision. The main structure was a pyramid-like building that rose almost 1,000 feet into the air. Smaller buildings surrounded it in organized patterns. It looked like a city, but there were no signs that anyone had ever lived there. How old are these? Amanda asked as they walked toward the main entrance. At least 50,000 years, Dr. Carter replied. Maybe older. The materials don't match anything in our databases. They reached the entrance to the main pyramid. Just as Captain Park had described, there was no obvious way to open it. The door was a smooth slab of the same dark stone. In the center was a circular indentation about 6 inches wide. We've tried everything, said Corporal Amy Rodriguez, one of the security team members. Heat, cold, pressure, electrical current. Nothing happens. Amanda walked closer to examine the indentation. It was perfectly smooth and seemed to be carved from a single piece of stone. But as she got closer, she noticed something strange. The stone around the indentation had a slight different color, as if it contained metal or crystals. It's a scanner, she said suddenly. What? Captain Park asked. This isn't just a depression in the stone. It's a biological scanner. It's designed to read something specific. Amanda looked at the indentation again. It was exactly the right size for a human hand. But not just any hand. The shape suggested that fingers should be spread in a specific pattern. Amy, Amanda said to Corporal Rodriguez, what's your blood type? AB negative, Amy replied. Why? Put your hand in the scanner. Amy looked nervous. What if it's dangerous? The architects wouldn't build a weapon into their front door, Dr. Carter said. Try it. Amy carefully placed her hand in the indentation. At first nothing happened. Then she accidentally scraped her finger on a rough edge of stone. A small drop of blood appeared on her finger and touched the scanner. Suddenly, the entire entrance began to glow with soft blue light. Ancient mechanisms activated with deep rumbling sounds. The massive stone door split down the middle and slowly slid open, revealing a dark corridor beyond. Everyone stared in amazement. After months of trying to open the ruins, all it had taken was a drop of human blood. It works, Amanda whispered. The blood types really are keys. Captain Park was already organizing the team to enter the ruins. Dr. Pierce, it looks like your theory was correct. Welcome to the discovery of a lifetime. The corridor beyond the entrance was completely dark. Captain Park turned on her flashlight and stepped inside. The beam of light revealed smooth walls covered with strange symbols and patterns. The air smelled old but clean, as if the building had been sealed perfectly for thousands of years. Amanda followed close behind, her heart racing with excitement. They had actually opened an architect structure. Her blood type theory was correct. But that was just the beginning. Now they needed to find out why the architects had designed their buildings to respond to human blood. The corridor stretched for about 50 feet before opening into a large, circular room. The ceiling was high and curved like the inside of a dome. Strange crystals hung from the walls, glowing with soft light that activated as the team entered. Motion sensors, Dr. Carter said, examining the crystals. The lighting system is still working after all these years. In the center of the room stood a circular platform with several smaller indentations around its edge. Each indentation was a different size and shape. Some were round, others were oval or square. All of them looked like they were designed for human hands. More scanners, Amanda said, but these are different from the entrance. Lieutenant Maya Kim, the team's communications expert, knelt down to examine the platform more closely. She was young and eager, with short blonde hair and bright blue eyes. Maya had joined the mission because she specialized in decoding alien languages and communication systems. The symbols around each scanner are different, Maya observed. Look, this one has triangular patterns, this one has circles, and this one has straight lines. Amanda studied the patterns. They reminded her of something, but she couldn't figure out what. Then it hit her. They're not random symbols, she said. They're representations of molecular structures. Look, the triangular pattern matches the shape of type A antigens. The circular pattern looks like type B antigens. Jake examined the platform carefully. So each scanner is designed for a specific blood type? That's what it looks like, Amanda replied. But we need to be careful. We don't know what will happen if we activate all of them. Dr. Carter was walking around the room, studying the walls. There are more corridors leading out of this chamber, he said. But they're all sealed with the same type of doors we found at the entrance. Captain Park made a decision. We'll test the scanners one at a time. Maya, what's your blood type? Type. Oh, positive, Maya replied. Find the scanner that matches type O and try it. Maya located the scanner with symbols that looked like type O molecular structures. She pricked her finger with a small knife and let a drop of blood fall onto the scanner. Immediately, one of the sealed doors opened with the same blue glow they had seen before. The team could see another corridor beyond, this one leading deeper into the structure. It works, Maya said excitedly. Each blood type opens a different path. They spent the next hour testing different scanners with team members who had different blood types. Jake had type A blood and opened another corridor. Corporal Rodriguez's AB negative blood opened a third passage. Each door led to a different section of the building. It's like a security system with multiple levels, Amanda explained. Each blood type gives access to different areas. Captain Park divided the team into groups to explore each section. Amanda and Dr. Carter went down the corridor opened by Maya's type O blood. The passage led to a large library filled with crystalline structures that glowed with internal light. Data storage, Dr. Carter said in amazement. These crystals contain information. Amanda approached one of the larger crystals. As she got close, symbols began appearing on its surface. The writing was completely alien, but somehow familiar. Maya, Amanda called on her radio. We need you down here. We found what looks like a library. Maya arrived within minutes bringing her translation equipment. She set up scanners to read the symbols on the crystals and began running them through her computer programs. This is incredible, Maya said as she worked. The language is completely unknown, but the mathematical base is similar to human number systems. Give me some time and I think I can decode at least part of it. While Maya worked on translation, Amanda and Dr. Carter explored more of the library. The room was enormous, filled with thousands of crystal storage devices. Each crystal seemed to contain different types of information. After 2 hours, Maya called them over to her workstation. Her face was pale and her hands were shaking. I've translated part of the first crystal, she said quietly. You're not going to believe what it says. Amanda and Dr. Carter gathered around Maya's computer screen. The translated text appeared, line by line as Maya read it aloud. Project Genesis, Final Phase. The seeding of Earth designation Planet 7739 has been completed successfully. The human prototypes have been placed in their designated environment and will develop according to the programmed genetic parameters. Dr. Carter's face went white. Prototypes? Maya continued reading. Each prototype has been encoded with specific biological markers corresponding to our security protocols. The blood key system will ensure that only the created species can access our technology when they achieve the necessary development level. Amanda felt dizzy. They're talking about humans. We're the prototypes. Maya nodded and kept reading. The blood type distribution has been calculated to provide optimal security coverage. Type O will serve as the master key for primary systems. Types A and B will provide access to specialized subsystems. Type AB will unlock the highest security areas. We weren't evolved on Earth, Dr. Carter said in shock. We were created. We were designed by these architects. Maya found another section of text. Warning. Emergency protocols activated. The Void Swarm has breached Sector 7. All colonies must be evacuated immediately. The containment system has failed. Project Genesis is our final hope. Void Swarm? Amanda asked. What's that? Maya continued translating. If you are reading this message, it means our species did not survive. But our created children, the humans, have found their way back to us. You are not just our descendants in biology. You are our legacy and our hope. The room was completely silent. Everyone stared at the translated text on Maya's screen. There's more, Maya said, her voice barely a whisper. The final entry says, the blood key system was not just designed for security. It was designed for survival. Each blood type carries activation codes for our defensive systems. When humans spread across the galaxy, they will unknowingly maintain the barriers that keep the Void Swarm contained. They are not just our children. They are the guardians of all life. Amanda sat down heavily in a nearby chair. Everything she thought she knew about human origins was wrong. Humans weren't a natural species that evolved on Earth. They were artificial beings created by an ancient civilization to be living keys to their technology. But more than that, they were designed to be protectors, guardians against some terrible threat called the Void Swarm. We need to find out what happened to the architects, Captain Park said over the radio. And we need to learn everything we can about this Void Swarm. Amanda looked around the crystal library. Somewhere in these storage devices was the complete history of human creation and the secret of their true purpose in the galaxy. The discovery changed everything. The news spread through human space faster than anyone expected. Within days of the discovery on Kepler 442b, every major news network was reporting the story. Humans weren't naturally evolved. They were created by an ancient alien civilization to be living keys to advanced technology. Admiral Peter Stone sat in his office on Earth reading report after report. He was the head of the Terran Defense Force, responsible for protecting all human colonies and ships. The discovery on Kepler 442b was causing panic throughout human space. Some people were excited about the advanced alien technology. Others were afraid of what it might mean. Religious groups were arguing about whether the discovery changed their beliefs about human creation. Scientists were demanding access to the architect ruins to study the technology. But Admiral Stone was worried about something else. His intelligence reports showed that other alien species were becoming nervous about humans. The Zephyrian Empire and the Crystalline Collective were both moving military ships toward human space. Commander Kate Walsh knocked on his office door. She had been promoted after her excellent work coordinating the research on Kepler 442b. Now, she was leading teams to investigate other architect sites that had been discovered across the galaxy. Admiral, we have a problem, Kate said as she entered. The architect sites are activating on their own. Admiral Stone looked up from his reports. What do you mean? Kate activated the holographic display in the center of the room. A map of the galaxy appeared, showing dozens of red dots scattered across different star systems. These are all known architect sites, Kate explained. For years they've been completely inactive, dark dead, but 3 days ago they all started showing energy signatures. All of them? Admiral Stone asked. Every single one. It started right after the news about Kepler 442b went public. It's like the sites are connected somehow, and when we opened one, we woke up the entire network. Admiral Stone studied the map. There were architect sites in nearly every sector of the galaxy. Some were in human space, but others were in alien territory. The Zephyrians had 5 sites in their empire. The Crystallines had 3. Have any of the alien species tried to enter their sites? Admiral Stone asked. They've tried everything, Kate replied. But the sites only respond to human blood. The aliens can't get inside their own architect ruins. That explained why the alien species were getting nervous. Powerful ancient technology was activating in their territory, but only humans could access it. To the aliens, it must look like humans were taking control of secret weapons hidden throughout the galaxy. Kate continued her briefing. We've sent teams to 12 different sites in human space. Each one is different, but they all contain advanced technology. Weapons, computers, energy sources, communication systems. Some of the technology is so advanced we don't even understand what it does. Admiral Stone walked to the window and looked out at Earth. The planet looked peaceful from space, but he knew that was about to change. What about the alien governments, he asked. What are they saying officially? The Zephyrian Emperor issued a statement yesterday, Kate replied. He's demanding that humans share all architect technology with the Galactic Council. He says, it's too dangerous for one species to control. And the crystallines? They're being more direct. Ambassador Nexus contacted me this morning. He said the Crystalline Collective considers the activation of architect sites in their territory to be an act of aggression by humanity. Admiral Stone turned back to Kate. They think we're preparing to attack them. It gets worse, Kate said. Intelligence reports show that the Zephyrians and Crystallines are forming a military alliance. They're calling it the Galactic Security Coalition. Other species are being invited to join. Admiral Stone sat down heavily in his chair. The discovery that was supposed to be humanity's greatest achievement was turning into its greatest threat. Other species saw humans as a danger that needed to be controlled or destroyed. What about our teams at the architect sites? Admiral Stone asked. Are they finding anything that could help us? Kate's expression became more hopeful. Actually, yes. Dr. Carter's team at the main site found something called the Communication Hub. It's a device that can send messages instantly, across the entire galaxy, faster than any technology we have. That could be useful for coordinating our defenses, Admiral Stone said. There's more, Kate continued. The hub isn't just for communication. It's connected to all the other architect sites. Dr. Carter thinks it might be some kind of control system for the entire network. Admiral Stone leaned forward. Control system for what? We're not sure yet. But Maya Kim has been translating more of the architect records. She found references to something called the containment protocol. It seems like the architect sites aren't just storage facilities. They're part of a galaxy-wide defensive system. Before Admiral Stone could respond, his communication system activated with an urgent priority signal. The face of Captain Lisa Park appeared on the screen. She looked exhausted and worried. Admiral, we have an emergency at the main site, Captain Park reported. The ruins are doing something we've never seen before. What kind of something? Admiral Stone asked. The entire structure is changing. New sections are rising from underground. The crystals in the library are glowing brighter than ever, and the scanners are activating on their own even without human blood. Kate looked at the Admiral with concern. It sounds like the site is preparing for something. Captain Park continued her report. Maya has translated more records. Admiral, the void swarm that destroyed the architect, it's not extinct. It's still out there. And the architect defensive system has been keeping it contained for 50,000 years. Admiral Stone felt his blood turn cold. Contained where? In a pocket dimension connected to our galaxy. But the containment is failing. The system needs human blood types to maintain the barriers, but there weren't enough humans spread across the galaxy until now. Kate understood immediately. That's why the sites are activating. The system is trying to recruit humans to strengthen the containment. But there's a problem, Captain Park added. If the other alien species attack human colonies or prevent humans from reaching the architect sites, the containment system will fail completely. The void swarm will break through into our dimension. Admiral Stone realized the terrible irony of their situation. The alien species were afraid that humans would use architect technology to conquer the galaxy. But if they attacked humans to prevent that, they would actually cause the release of something far worse than any conquering army. Captain Park, how long do we have? Admiral Stone asked. According to the records, the containment barriers are already weakening. Maya estimates we have maybe 6 months before they fail completely. We need humans at every architect site in the galaxy to maintain the system. Admiral Stone looked at the galaxy map again. Many of the architect sites were in alien territory that was becoming more hostile to humans every day. Getting human teams to those sites would be almost impossible if the alien species declared war. Kate, I need you to organize emergency teams for every architect site we can reach, Admiral Stone ordered. And get me a direct communication link to the Zephyrian Emperor and the Crystalline Collective leaders. Sir? Kate asked. We need to tell them the truth, Admiral Stone said. If they want to survive the next 6 months, they're going to have to trust humans with their lives. Kate saluted and left to carry out her orders. Admiral Stone remained at the window, looking out at Earth. Humanity had learned it was created to be the guardian of the galaxy. Now they had to convince their enemies to let them do their job or everyone would die. Amanda Pierce and Captain Jake Harrison stood at the entrance to the largest architect structure ever discovered. The building was hidden inside a rogue planet that drifted through empty space between star systems. It had taken them 3 months to find it, following clues from the Crystal Library on Kepler 442b. Jake had been promoted to captain after leading successful missions to activate architect sites throughout human space. He had proven himself brave and reliable during the crisis with the alien species. Amanda had become the leading expert on architect technology and the human blood type system. The rogue planet was dark and cold, with no sun to warm its surface. But deep underground, the architect structure glowed with power that had been building for 50,000 years. This was the Master Control Center, the heart of the entire defensive network. Are you ready for this? Jake asked as they approached the entrance scanner. Amanda nodded, though she felt nervous. The other architect sites had revealed pieces of the truth, but this place would show them everything. The complete history of the architects, the full nature of the Void Swarm and humanity's true purpose in the galaxy. Amanda placed her hand on the scanner. Her type AB negative blood was rare, found in less than 1% of humans. But according to the architect records, it was the master key that could access the most secure areas of their technology. The massive doors opened with a sound like thunder. Beyond was a corridor that stretched for miles underground. As they walked, lights activated automatically, showing walls covered with complex diagrams and star charts. It's a map of the entire galaxy, Jake observed. Look, there are markers showing every planet with life. Amanda studied the diagrams more carefully. It's not just a map. It's a monitoring system. The architects were watching every species in the galaxy. They reached the end of the corridor and entered an enormous chamber. The room was so large that the ceiling disappeared into darkness above them. In the center stood a complex machine made of the same crystal technology they had seen at other sites. As they approached, the machine activated. Holographic displays appeared in the air around them, showing images and text in the architect language. But now Amanda could read some of the symbols thanks to her months of study. "Welcome, children of the Genesis Project," the machine said in perfectly clear human speech. "I am the Guardian Protocol, the final gift of the architect civilization." Jake jumped backward in surprise. "It talks." "I have been waiting for you to find this place," the Guardian Protocol continued. "Your species has developed faster than we predicted. You have spread across many worlds and found our technology much sooner than expected." Amanda stepped closer to the machine. "We know that you created us. We know about the Void Swarm and the containment system. But we need to understand everything." The holographic displays changed, showing images of the architect civilization at its peak. They were tall, graceful beings with pale skin and large eyes. Their cities were beautiful, filled with art and technology that seemed like magic. "My creators were explorers and builders," the Guardian Protocol explained. "For millions of years, we traveled the galaxy, helping young species develop and grow. We thought we were the guardians of life itself." The images changed, showing something terrible. Dark shapes moved through space, consuming everything in their path. Planets turned to dust. Stars went dark. Entire solar systems disappeared into nothingness. Then we discovered the void swarm, the machine continued. Entities from another dimension that feed on matter and energy. They found a way into our reality and began consuming everything they could reach. Jake watched the images with horror. How did you stop them? We could not destroy them, the Guardian Protocol replied. But we found a way to trap them in a pocket dimension connected to our galaxy. The containment required a network of devices spread across thousands of star systems, all working together to maintain the barrier. Amanda understood. That's what all the architect sites are. Parts of the containment system. Correct. But the system needed constant maintenance. It required biological operators with specific genetic codes to function properly. We tried to modify our own people, but our biology was not compatible with the technology. The display showed architect scientists working in laboratories trying to create the right kind of biological keys for their machines. So you created humans, Jake said. Project Genesis was our final achievement, the Guardian Protocol confirmed. We designed your species from the ground up, combining genetic material from many different life forms. Each blood type carries specific activation codes for different parts of the containment system. Amanda had suspected this, but hearing it confirmed was still shocking. We're not just keys. We're living parts of your machine. You are much more than that, the Guardian Protocol said warmly. You have consciousness, free will, creativity, and the ability to grow beyond what we designed. You are our children in the truest sense. The machine showed them new images. Humans working at architect sites across the galaxy, their blood activating ancient systems and strengthening the barriers that held back the void swarm. The containment has held for 50,000 years, the Guardian Protocol explained. But it was always meant to be temporary. The barriers weaken over time and need fresh genetic codes to maintain their strength. Jake looked at the star charts, showing architect sites throughout the galaxy. That's why you needed us to spread out across space. More humans in more places means stronger containment. Precisely. But there is a problem. Your genetic diversity is decreasing as your population grows and mixes. In a few hundred years, the blood type distribution will become too uniform to maintain the system. Amanda felt her heart sink. So the containment will fail eventually anyway. Not necessarily, the Guardian Protocol said. There is a permanent solution, but it requires cooperation between humans and all other intelligent species in the galaxy. The display showed a new image. Humans and aliens working together at massive construction sites, building something that looked like a gateway between dimensions. We can send the void swarm back to their home dimension permanently, the machine explained. But the project requires resources and cooperation from every advanced species. No one civilization can do it alone. Jake understood the challenge immediately. The alien species still don't trust us. They think we want to conquer them with architect technology. Which is why this knowledge must be shared carefully, the Guardian Protocol advised. Show them the truth about the void swarm. Prove that humans are protectors, not conquerors. Work together to build the final gateway. Amanda looked around. The vast chamber. How do we convince them? The same way the architects convinced reluctant species long ago, the machine replied. Through actions, not words. Use the defensive systems to protect alien worlds from natural disasters. Share the healing technology to cure diseases. Prove that humans can be trusted with power. The Guardian Protocol began displaying technical plans and instructions. I will provide the knowledge you need to complete the Gateway project. But remember, this technology is not a gift to humanity alone. It belongs to all life in the galaxy. Jake saluted the machine respectfully. We understand. We'll do whatever it takes to protect everyone. Amanda felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Humanity had learned they were created to be guardians, but now they had to prove themselves worthy of that role. One final thing, the Guardian Protocol said. The architects live on in you. Not just in your genetics, but in your capacity for growth, learning, and cooperation. You have already exceeded our expectations in many ways. As they prepared to leave the Master Control Center, Amanda realized that humanity's greatest test was just beginning. They had to unite the galaxy against an ancient threat while proving they could be trusted with ultimate power. But looking at Jake and thinking about all the humans working at architect sites across space, she felt hopeful. Humans had been designed to be guardians, and they would fulfill that purpose. Not because they were programmed to, but because they chose to. The galaxy's future depended on that choice.